Let's be honest, nobody saw this coming like this, because what just happened in court is not just another legal hiccup for Prince Harry, it's a full-blown reputational earthquake. After years of insisting that the media was out to destroy him, after countless interviews framing himself as the ultimate victim of press abuse, a judge has now effectively sided with the publishers by confirming that key ANS stories were legally sourced. And while some people are screaming, "Harry found guilty," online, what really matters is this: the court did not buy the core narrative Harry and Meghan have been selling to the public for years. That alone is catastrophic. Because when your entire public identity is built around victimhood, and a judge says, "Actually, these stories were lawful," that's not just a loss, that's humiliation on record. Now here's where things get uncomfortable, because this ruling doesn't just hurt Harry. It throws a very harsh spotlight on Meghan Markle, the woman widely believed to be the chief architect behind this relentless legal war against the British press. Let's not pretend otherwise. Meghan has consistently positioned herself as the moral compass in this marriage, the strategist, the one who sees through the system. But if the judge is now saying that ANS didn't illegally obtain the information they published, then what exactly was Meghan pushing Harry into court to prove? Because the implication is brutal, this lawsuit may never have been about justice, it may have been about control, narrative, and revenge. And courts do not reward emotional storytelling. They reward evidence. What makes this even worse is that the judge didn't just dismiss the argument quietly. The ruling explicitly acknowledged that the stories in question had legitimate journalistic sourcing. That matters. In simple English, it means the press didn't steal the information, didn't hack for it, didn't break the law to get it. And once that's established, Harry's entire case starts to crumble. Because if the media wasn't acting illegally, then Harry's claim that he was unfairly targeted starts to look less like truth and more like perception. And perception does not win court cases. Evidence does. This is where Meghan's influence becomes impossible to ignore, because she has repeatedly encouraged public emotional narratives over hard legal realities, and the judge just exposed that gap. Let's talk about optics, because optics are everything for Meghan Markle. This is the same woman who has carefully curated her image as an advocate for truth, justice, and transparency. Yet here we are, watching a court effectively say, the stories you claimed were harmful and unlawfully obtained were, in fact, legally sourced. That's devastating. Not because it proves the press is perfect, but because it proves Meghan's framing of events was exaggerated at best, misleading at worst. And when you build an empire on moral superiority, even a small crack in credibility can bring the whole structure down. This ruling didn't just reject Harry's argument, it challenged Meghan's worldview. What's really telling is how silent Meghan has been since this development. No dramatic statements. No carefully worded press leaks about speaking her truth. And that silence speaks volumes. Because for once, there's no way to spin this without contradicting years of public messaging. You can't say, the system is broken, when the same system just calmly dismantled your argument using law, logic, and documented sourcing. This isn't about emotion anymore. It's about credibility. And credibility is something Meghan Markle cannot afford to lose, especially now that public patience with their endless grievances is wearing thin. And let's be very clear, this ruling reinforces a growing public suspicion that Meghan's influence has pushed Harry into battles he was never equipped to fight. Harry operates emotionally. Meghan operates strategically. But strategy only works when it's grounded in reality, not resentment. The judge's findings suggest that this case was built on assumptions rather than proof. That's not courage. That's recklessness. And when you drag the courts, the media, and the public through years of accusations only for a judge to say the reporting was lawful, people start asking uncomfortable questions, not about the press, but about you. This moment also exposes something deeper: Meghan's ongoing war with British institutions. The monarchy, the media, the courts, she has framed all of them as hostile forces. But institutions don't collapse just because you accuse them loudly enough. And in this case, the court didn't bend. It didn't validate her narrative. It simply looked at the facts and ruled accordingly. That's a nightmare scenario for someone who thrives on moral authority. Because once a judge undermines your version of events, every past claim suddenly feels negotiable. And public trust doesn't come back easily. Another uncomfortable truth is that this ruling makes Harry look less like a victim and more like a willing participant in a manufactured crusade. And that's where the phrase, "Harry found guilty," gains traction not legally, but socially.